friends. You tell yourself you're fine being the person they laugh with, text at midnight, and confide in about everyone else they're dating. But deep down, you know the truth. You want more. You want to be the one they think about when they wake up, the one they choose when it finally matters. But you're stuck in that invisible emotional trap the world calls the friend zone. It's not that they don't like you. It's that they've already defined you as safe, predictable, non-threatening, someone they can trust, but never desire. And that right there is the problem. Because attraction isn't born in comfort. It's born in contrast. If you want to get out of the friend zone, you don't need to confess your feelings. You need to shift their perception of who you are. So, in this video, I'll reveal a 6-step process that will show you exactly how to do that. How to move from just a friend to someone they can't stop thinking about. And by the end, you'll know precisely when and how to make your move. Let's begin. Step 1. Transition from passive to active. Here's the first truth. If you want someone to see you differently, you have to start acting differently. For too long, you've probably been the listener, the helper, the one who's always available when they call, hoping that your kindness will eventually turn into attraction. But that's not how human psychology works. When you're always there, always agreeing, always waiting, you stop being a mystery and start becoming a mirror. And mirrors don't attract people, they reflect them. So step 1 is about taking control of your own narrative. You need to move from passive energy to active energy. That means making decisions, setting boundaries, and creating small doses of unpredictability in your interactions. When you stop abiding their world and start living in your own, they feel it subconsciously. Think about this. Studies published in the Sage journals show that when it comes to attraction, men and women use different strategies to gain attention. Most women wait. They send subtle cues and let the man make a move. Most men, on the other hand, hesitate. They overthink, analyze, and end up doing nothing. So, if you're serious about escaping the friend zone, you must stop waiting for permission to act. Take initiative. Start inviting them to join your world, not the other way around. Plan experiences. Try new things. Build momentum in your life that doesn't revolve around them. Because here's the paradox of desire. The moment someone realizes you're not waiting for them, they start wondering what's pulling you away. That curiosity, that micro dose of emotional uncertainty, is what reignites attraction. So the next time you're tempted to wait for their text, pause, do something else. Create your own gravity. Because when you stop being passive, you start being noticed. And that's the first psychological crack in the walls of the friend zone. Up next, we'll talk about the mindset shift that changes everything. Because before someone else can see you differently, you have to see yourself differently first. Here's something people rarely admit. Most friendships that turn into love don't happen by accident. They happen when one person decides to change the emotional dynamic. You see, if you want something different from this person, if you want them to see you not as a buddy, but as someone they could actually fall for, then something inside you has to shift first. Step 2. Adopting the paradigm shift mindset. Before anyone else can see you differently, you have to see yourself differently. You can't stay trapped in the same emotional role and expect a new outcome. So, what does that mean in practice? It means breaking the mental pattern they have of you right now. When they think of you, their brain plays the same reel. You're kind, reliable, predictable, and safely unavailable for romance. To change that, you need to introduce new energy into their perception. You do that by evolving, not pretending, not playing games, but by quietly becoming the version of yourself they never expected to meet. This is the paradigm shift, where you stop trying to earn their affection and start commanding respect. Think about it like this. In the friend zone, power is uneven. One person gives more, the other receives more. You listen, they talk. You wait, they decide. But once you flip that dynamic, when you stop reacting and start leading, everything changes. You stop being the safe background character in their story and become the main character in your own. And here's the psychological reason it works. When you suddenly pull back or start focusing on yourself, their brain experiences what's called a cognitive dissonance trigger. It's the emotional confusion that happens when their mind's old image of you doesn't match your new behavior. They start thinking, wait, since when do they have plans without me? Why do they seem more confident lately? Who are they talking to? That mental gap, that uncertainty, reactivates curiosity and attraction. It makes them start to notice you again. But remember, this isn't about manipulation. It's about evolution. If you want love to grow from friendship, it has to feel natural, like you're becoming more confident, more mysterious, more alive. And here's where most people go wrong. They confess too early. They assume honesty alone will fix everything. But raw honesty without timing is like lighting a match in the rain. It burns out before it ever catches fire. You can't just say, I like you. You have to make them feel it. Let your presence become rare but magnetic. Let your energy shift from I need you to, you're lucky to have my time. Because once they start realizing you're no longer emotionally available at every hour, something inside them begins to change. They start to miss you, and that's the first step toward desire. So here's your next challenge for the next few days. Stop over-communicating. Stop seeking validation. Start showing growth. Post about your new goals. Spend time with new people. Dive into your passions. Don't do it for them. Do it for yourself. Because the moment you genuinely start evolving, they'll sense it even before you say a word. Up next, we'll go deeper. Because once you've shifted your mindset, it's time to use psychology itself to your advantage. In step 3, I'll show you how to create the fear of loss, the hidden emotional spark that makes them realize what they stand to lose if they don't act. Now, here's a truth that few people ever admit out loud. We don't value what's always there. We value what you might lose. If you've ever wondered why your friend never seems to notice you until you pull away, this is why. It's not that they stopped caring. It's that their brain stopped registering you as curse. Step 3. Create the fear of loss. You're not trying to scare them. You're trying to awaken their emotional awareness that you are not guaranteed, that if they don't act soon, someone else might. This step isn't about games. It's about restoring balance. Right now, you've been available, predictable, maybe even taken for granted. But attraction thrives in uncertainty. So it's time to create a healthy tension, one that whispers, if you don't move, someone else will. Let's make this real. Start saying no occasionally. When they ask for favors, pause. Don't jump. When they text, don't always reply instantly. Let them feel the quiet absence of your attention, because absence in psychology amplifies emotion. The moment you stop being omnipresent, their mind begins to fill in the silence with curiosity and longing. They'll start asking themselves questions. Are they seeing someone? Why do I suddenly miss them so much? That's the fear of loss awakening, the very emotion that pushes friendship toward desire. And here's where we go deeper. The 6 factors that secretly make someone commit. These are the same principles that influence human bonding, backed by real relationship psychology. Let's break them down. 1. Satisfaction. Ask yourself, when they're around you, do they feel good? Are your interactions energizing or emotionally flat? People are drawn to where they feel emotionally alive. So, make sure your time together leaves a memory, laughter, curiosity, even a hint of playful tension, because satisfaction is the foundation of attraction. 2. Scarcity. Scarcity doesn't mean you disappear. It means you stop being predictable. Post pictures of new experiences. Go out, explore, try something different. Let them see that you're expanding, not abiding. Psychologically, scarcity activates dopamine, the same reward chemical that drives desire. When someone feels they can't fully have you, their attraction spikes. 3. Fear of loss. This one connects directly to scarcity. Once they sense your presence isn't guaranteed, they start to feel emotional urgency. They begin to question, what if someone else sees what I've been ignoring? And that's exactly where you want them. Aware, alert, slightly off balance. 4. Urgency. Urgency in dating is like oxygen to fire. It's the feeling that if you don't act now, the chance might vanish. Let them feel that shift through your timing, your silence, your growing independence. The less you chase, the faster they move. 5. Investment. Psychologically, people value what they invest in. Time, effort, emotion, attention. Encourage them to invest in you. Ask for small favors, advice, or help. When they give something even minor, their subconscious starts to justify the effort. I must care about them if I'm doing all this. That's called the IKEA effect in behavioral psychology. People love what they've built effort into. 6 alternatives. This one's powerful. If they think they're your only option, complacency forms. But the moment they see that others notice you, even subtly, their perception of your value skyrockets. So no, you don't flaunt other people. You simply remind them with confidence and energy that you are desirable beyond their world. These 6 factors, satisfaction, scarcity, fear of loss, urgency, investment, and alternatives, work together like emotional gears. When they turn in sync, they change how a person feels about you without a single word of confession. And here's the secret most people miss. You don't need to chase love. You need to become the version of yourself that someone is afraid to lose. That's how you break the friend zone's illusion. Not by begging for affection, but by reclaiming your emotional value. Up next, once you've created that spark of scarcity and fear of loss, you can't stop there. Now, it's time to build momentum to climb what psychologists call the value ladder. In step 4, I'll show you exactly how to deepen attraction through communication, one level at a time. Now that you've created emotional tension, that quiet fear of loss, it's time to take control of the momentum. Because desire without direction fades. If you don't give that spark a path to grow, it will burn out and die quietly. That's why the next step is so important. Step 4. Embarking on the value ladder without the no contact rule. Most people think the only way to make someone miss you is to disappear completely. Go no contact. But here's the truth. If you vanish too soon, you don't create attraction. You create confusion. The real art is not to disappear. It's to elevate, to climb what I call the value ladder. The value ladder isn't a trick. It's a psychological roadmap that shows you how to move someone's perception of you from just a friend to potential partner. Think of it as stages of communication, each one slightly more personal, more meaningful, and more emotionally charged than the last. The goal isn't speed, it's depth. So, let's break it down step by step. Level 1. Text-based communication. This is where everything begins. Your goal here isn't to flirt aggressively. It's to build micro-connections that spark curiosity. Text like someone who has a full life. Don't text out of boredom. Text with purpose. Ask interesting, emotionally open-ended questions. And keep the energy light, natural, and slightly unpredictable. Use humor. Use mystery. Psychology tells us the brain releases dopamine during uncertain anticipation, meaning your delayed thoughtful replies can actually increase their emotional investment. Your texts shouldn't just say, "Hey," they should make them think what's going on in their world. That's when the connection begins to shift. Level 2. Phone-based communication. When the texting flow feels natural, step up. Start calling them. The human voice carries emotional frequency that text can't replicate. Tone, pacing, laughter. They all build subconscious intimacy. But remember, calls don't need to be long. In fact, short, meaningful calls build more curiosity. Leave them smiling when you hang up. Always end on a high note. That's how you keep them wanting more. Level 3. Video chat or FaceTime. Now we move to visual communication, the bridge between emotional connection and real chemistry. When they see your eyes, your confidence, your calm, it triggers mirror neurons that simulate closeness even across distance. If you want to take this deeper, add micro moments of vulnerability. Talk about something personal, a memory, a goal, a funny mistake. People fall for realness, not perfection. That emotional transparency creates an unspoken bond. It tells them, "I trust you." And when someone feels trusted, they start to trust back. Level 4. In-person meetups. This is where things start to shift from emotional to physical reality. Don't call it a date. Keep it natural. "Hey, I'm grabbing coffee. You should join." The key is to make your presence familiar, not forced. These meetups are not about impressing. They're about presence. Your energy, your body language, your tone. All of these nonverbal cues tell a story long before your words do. Make eye contact. Be calm. Listen more than you speak. Every small detail reinforces the image of someone emotionally grounded and confident. The goal here is simple: to make them feel something around you that they've never felt before. Safety mixed with intrigue. Level 5. Romantic-based communication. Now comes the subtle pivot, the moment where energy turns from casual to charged. You'll notice it in their body language first. Lingering eye contact, softer tone, the way they mirror your movements without realizing it. These are subconscious attraction cues. At this stage, you can start introducing light romantic tension. Not forced, not overt, just hints. Compliments that feel personal, not generic. Say things like, "I love how you see the world. You always have this calm energy about you." These phrases build emotional significance, not shallow flattery. And here's the psychological power move. Progressive disclosure reveals small pieces of your inner world over time. Every new layer builds intimacy. It's how the brain bonds through shared vulnerability. That's when they start to wonder, why do I feel this close to them? Why do I miss them when they're gone? That's not friendship anymore. That's attraction taking root. The value ladder works because it mimics the natural evolution of relationships. It's how trust turns into comfort, and comfort turns into chemistry. By gradually deepening the connection, You're giving their mind time to reframe who you are. You're no longer the friend who's always there. You're the person who makes them feel alive. And once someone starts associating you with that feeling, the friend zone doesn't just fade, it collapses. Up next, once you've climbed this emotional ladder, there's one final skill that ties it all together. It's what makes your conversations magnetic and impossible to forget. In step 5, we'll unlock how to have meaningful conversations that make them open up, connect, and crave more of you. Connection doesn't grow from texting, memes, or casual banter. It grows from moments when you stop pretending and start feeling. So, by now you've shifted your mindset. You've created scarcity. You've built value. But none of that matters if your conversations stay surface level. Step 5. Have meaningful conversations. Every relationship rises or falls on communication, not the amount you talk, but the quality of what you say. You see, words are not just sounds, they are signals, and each word you choose either pulls someone closer or pushes them away. So, if you want to break the friend zone barrier, you must move past the safe topics and start creating emotional resonance. Let's talk about 2 psychology-backed frameworks that make people open up. FOD and EPIC. These aren't just conversation tricks. They're maps to someone's inner world. FORD. Family, occupation, recreation, dreams. Each letter is a gateway to deeper understanding. Family. Ask about their roots, their siblings, their childhood memories. When someone talks about family, they reveal their emotional values, what they protect, what they fear losing. Occupation. Don't just ask, what do you do? Ask, what do you enjoy most about what you do? It changes the tone from small talk to self-discovery, recreation. Talk about how they spend their free time. Our hobbies show our identity when the world isn't watching. Dreams. Here's where the magic happens. Ask what they secretly want in life, where they see themselves in 5 years. People bond not over facts, but over shared visions of the future. Once you've broken that surface, it's time for the next framework. EPIC, experiences, perspectives, interest, cravings. These topics don't just open minds, they open hearts. Experiences. Ask about the moments that changed them, good or bad. When they share those stories, mirror their emotion without judgment. Perspectives. Discuss how they see the world, their beliefs about love, trust, and purpose. You don't need to agree. You need to understand. Interests. Show genuine curiosity. Find the things that make them light up when they talk. Cravings. This is the most intimate. Ask what they crave in life. Peace, excitement, security, freedom. Whatever they say is a window into their emotional needs. Here's why this works. When you listen without rushing to fill the silence, you trigger a psychological loop called empathic resonance. It's the feeling of being understood without having to explain yourself. And in the human brain, that sensation releases oxytocin, the same chemical that creates bonding in romantic relationships. So the more they talk to you about real things, the more their mind begins to link you with safety, comfort, and trust. And that's exactly how friendship starts, turning into something deeper. Try this during your next conversation. Avoid questions that end with yes or no. Instead of asking, "Did you like their movie?" say, "What did you feel while watching it?" That one word feel changes everything, because when you invite emotion, you invite connection. These deep talks also serve a psychological purpose for you. They let you evaluate if this person is worth your energy beyond the friend zone. Remember, this isn't just about making them like you. It's about discovering if you like them enough to risk changing everything. Meaningful conversation isn't about talking more. It's about feeling more. It's what separates a temporary connection from a transformational one. And once you've mastered this level of emotional communication, you're ready for the final step, the moment where you stop hinting and start claiming. Because in step 6, you'll learn how to make it official, how to read the perfect moment, ask the right question, and move from connection to commitment without breaking the chemistry you've built. You've built connection. You've created attraction. You've redefined how they see you. Now comes the moment that makes every heartbeat feel louder. The point where you decide whether to stay hidden behind comfort or step into something real. Step 6. Ask them to be official. Here's the truth. There will never be a perfect moment. There will only ever be a real one. Raw, unscripted, uncertain. And that's exactly why it's powerful. You've probably heard this advice before. Just tell them how you feel. But it's not what you say that matters. It's when and how you say it. Timing is everything. The perfect time to take that leap isn't during a random text conversation or in the middle of small talk. It's during the emotional high point, the moment when the energy between you feels magnetic and alive. Maybe you've just finished laughing together on a date. Maybe you've had a deep, vulnerable conversation where both of you dropped your guard. Maybe you're standing in silence, but the air feels heavy with unspoken words. That's your window. You don't need a grand speech. You just need honesty wrapped in calm confidence. Look them in the eyes. Smile, not nervously, but knowingly. Then say something like, I really enjoy being around you. You make things feel different, real. So I have to ask, what are we? Simple, direct, genuine, no games, no over-explaining. That single question, what are we, has more power than a 5-minute confession because it's not desperate, it's self-assured. It shows that you value the connection, but you also value your clarity. Here's the psychology behind this. When you ask with calm confidence, their brain doesn't hear pressure. It hears certainty. And certainty, especially after emotional buildup, creates safety. Even if they hesitate, you've already changed the narrative because now they know exactly how you feel. Not as a secret, but as truth. You've planted the seed of awareness, and once that seed exists, it never disappears. It grows quietly every time they think of you, miss you, or wonder what if. And if they to feel the same, that one question becomes the beginning of something real. But let's be honest, not everyone will respond the way you want. Some will say they need time. Others might say they don't want to risk the friendship, and that's okay, because love, real love, isn't about convincing. It's about revealing. You've done the hard part. You showed up with honesty, confidence, and self-respect. That's not a loss. That's growth. If you truly want to escape the friend zone, you must understand this one truth. Attraction isn't built on need. It's built on value. You didn't beg. You evolved. You didn't chase. You inspired. You stopped waiting for validation and became the kind of person who doesn't need to be chosen because you already choose yourself. That's the energy that draws people in. So whether they say yes or they hesitate, you've already won something greater than their affection. You've reclaimed your confidence, And that confidence will carry you into every relationship you'll ever have. Because when you can be brave enough to when you can risk rejection without losing yourself, you've already crossed the threshold between being a friend and becoming the kind of person who's unforgettable. If this video helped you understand how to turn friendship into connection, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell, because here on my stoic journey, we decode the hidden patterns of attraction, emotion, and human behavior. And remember, sometimes the most powerful move you can make is the one that finally sets you free.